Good afternoon. So this week I'm going to be talking about something that is different than what I'd originally planned for these videos, which was to share something every week, because it's still governed by these collection day changes at the moment, and I can't talk about those every week because it just gets too boring. So this week I'm going to share something that is very relevant to you if you're considering a franchise with us, and that is basically two things that I'll talk about today. One is the scale of what you get with our franchise, and also on the other side of that, the level of tailoring that you get to do about what you want. So, another relevant thing is I'm going to try and do this video in one take. And I've got my cheat sheet down here, so if I keep looking down, you'll know what I'm looking at. Because last week's video took 4 hours to edit. And it's really relevant that, because that's a good window into probably, I would say, the biggest thing that people underestimate about getting a business from scratch, from say an idea to actually successful, and that is the sheer amount of hours you have to spend getting it ready. So I'll give you examples of that on what's happened to me fairly recently with setting up a franchise business. So I'm a big believer in, you shouldn't just give some work that you want doing to somebody else. You should know a massive degree about that particular thing before you pass it on. And that's a real problem prevention exercise. And to give you a direct example of that, our brochures alone took me, and I might have got this figure wrong because it sounds too low, but I think it took 100 hours minimum to get that brochure to a point where I could give it to a professional editor to finish it off. 100 hours, and that was over, I don't know if I said 2 or 3 months. That's a massive amount of hours to fit into that kind of timescale whilst you're running your own another business anyway, the wheelie bin cleaning business. So, and it does lead on to a nice part about what I was talking before, which is tailoring what you do to this. And I've tailored my wheelie bin cleaning to a point that allows me the time to get the franchise stuff ready. So it's just hard to remember from a while back. So the next thing is I looked at social media, which is, I don't spend a lot of time on social media before I did this franchising. So I had to learn all that. And that was 3 hours a day. Easy. And again, because I want to learn it before I passed it on to somebody else. So why is this relevant to you? It's hopefully beginning to show you that if you want to start a wheelie bin cleaning business on your own, are you ever really going to recoup the amount of hours that you put in to do it versus a franchise with us where all the hours are done and we compress it into a format that you can learn, at least to start, within a couple of weeks. So going back to the Facebook example, one of the groups I came across was a redundancy group. It was like help for people being made redundant, and it really brought back some memories to me, as I'd never been made redundant, but I definitely had job anxiety when I worked for people a long time ago. And even when because this isn't the only business I've had other businesses before that were successful in their own way, But this is really quite different. So I would say that there are three main things that really set this aside from doing anything else, and also the way we do it and the way we'd help you as a franchisee. So let's look at the first one, which is security. I never felt safe working for someone else because it really just seemed to me, and okay, I might have been exaggerating this at time, but it really seemed to me as though if someone just suddenly decided that they didn't need you or didn't want you, you'd be out. Now I know, people can't just do that, but that's how it felt, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And with what we do here, it's incredible the level of security. So it's not a summer thing at all. We don't get less busy in winter, and that's our doing. We made it like that because you could do it just in summer, but we don't do that. We didn't want that, so that isn't for us. So if that is something you want to do, we can't show you how to do that because we're just not doing that. We're a year-round thing. And the other thing is with the rise of online shopping and things like that, one of the things that's really hot is scaling at any cost, and the problem with that is like supermarkets versus, the old corner shop. You lose the person connection, and we advocate that massively, a big human connection. And when your customers become friends, and if you become a franchisee of ours, they will, if you follow our guidelines. That's partly why people have no interest in going anywhere else. So you could have a competitor set up who's cheaper, and I have had this, and they don't last because they think they can come in and undercut you and get the work. People aren't bothered. They don't go for it. It just doesn't work like that. So it was one of the reasons why we thought, well, we'll start doing a franchise because we've obviously got a hell of a lot of boxes ticked here. So the security, there's a lot of different things we do that emphasize and exaggerate, if you like, the security that this wheelie bin cleaning can provide you. And it's the feeling of, it must have been what it was like decades ago in a job, that you had a job for life, because that is exactly what it feels like to me. And then the next thing is the freedom. So I was telling you about how it took me 100. Just had a message through from Ray, who's doing a different area, because of the collection days. It's just flashed up there. So I'm going to have to sort of cover his around when I finish my commercial one. Anyway, so back to the freedom thing. So I was telling you about the brochure and Facebook and it taking all this hour. I tailored what I do to allow me that time. So, for instance, I only clean part-time, and I've set that business up that I only have to be there part-time because I wanted to do the franchising. And there is no reason whatsoever why you, as a franchisee of ours, can't set your business up in exactly that same way. And also, you might just want to do it, say, part-time on your own, and you might only want to earn a certain amount. You might be semi-retired. Some people do that. So the scale of the tailoring of what you want is really quite big, because you could simply go and do part-time wheelie bin cleaning on your own. You could have a couple of franchisees, have an admin assistant, and earn more money, have a bit more responsibility, earn more money, but still do part-time hours. Then you could do full-time on your own, in which case, well, you should be way above national average. And then national average wage, that is. And then from there, you work full time and have 2 or 3 other franchises, or just have 2 or 3 franchises and you be in the office. And then from there, you might want to become a master franchisee, which is you're responsible for a whole area. So really, it's I was just thinking I'd buy one myself, buy a franchise myself, because it just does. And I forget how much security and how much freedom there is, because when I speak to other people, they're mainly moaning about what they do. They don't like it. So that's a huge thing. So yes, let's try rounding this up. So what I will leave you with is the fact that you can see, say, a franchise fee as like this huge amount of money that you're going to have to shell out and not really get a lot for. But, as prices increase and everything seems to be more and more expensive, I can genuinely say that this seems to me like an absolute bargain. Because how many things can you buy where, say, you buy it for a tenner and it'll make you a tenner every year after that, or 20 quid a year after that? Is that cheap? And also, say if it was you bought something that was £1,000,000, but it made you £1,000,000 every year. Is that £1,000,000 now expensive? It doesn't sound like it, does it? So bear in mind that we have done this for so long now, and we enjoy such a lot of security and freedom, and you can have that without a shadow of a doubt with one of our franchises. And luckily or unluckily, you're gonna have direct access to me, aren't you? So I'm gonna tell you everything I need to tell you, or you want to know about how to make a success at this, because it really is. It's just one of those rare things that this just works and it's real.